Samantha Wright drove her old truck down the bumpy dirt road that led to her cabin. The stars shone bright in the Montana sky. She had just finished her night shift at the small mountain observatory where she worked as an astrophysicist. Her eyes felt heavy. All she wanted was to fall into bed and sleep until noon. For the past few weeks, Samantha had been tracking something strange in the night sky. It was a cluster of lights that didn't move like normal stars. They didn't match any known patterns in her star charts. Sometimes they seemed to flicker in what almost looked like a pattern. Probably just satellite debris, her boss had said when she showed him. But Samantha wasn't so sure. She parked her truck and grabbed her bag. The night air was cold, making her pull her jacket tighter. Inside her cabin, she flipped on the lights and put on the kettle for tea. The cabin wasn't much, just one bedroom, a small kitchen, and a living area with a fireplace. But it was all hers, and the rent was cheap. Plus, being away from city lights made it perfect for her star-watching hobby. Samantha sipped her tea and looked through her notes one more time. The strange lights had moved again last night. They now formed a perfect triangle. She was sure this wasn't random. But her eyelids kept dropping. She would think about it tomorrow. She brushed her teeth, changed into her favorite flannel pajamas, and crawled into bed. Within minutes, she was fast asleep. Beep, beep, beep. Samantha's eyes shot open. Her alarm clock showed 12 a.m. in bright red numbers. She hadn't set an alarm. She reached over to turn it off, but the beeping wasn't coming from her clock. That's when she noticed the blue light. It filtered through her curtains, pulsing gently. It wasn't the harsh white of headlights or the flashing red and blue of police cars. This light was different, soft but intense, like nothing she had ever seen before. A humming sound filled the air. It started low, then grew until she could feel it vibrating in her chest. The cups on her nightstand began to rattle. The picture frames on her wall tilted sideways. What the hell? Samantha whispered. She reached for her phone, but it was dead. So was her bedside lamp when she tried to turn it on. The blue light grew brighter. It seeped through every crack in her curtains, painting her bedroom in an eerie glow. The humming got louder. Then as suddenly as it started, everything stopped. The humming, the vibrations, all of it gone. But the blue light remained. Samantha's heart pounded in her chest. She should call someone. The police? The observatory? But her phone still wouldn't turn on. She slid out of bed and grabbed the baseball bat she kept under it. With shaking hands, she crept toward her bedroom door. That's when she heard it, footsteps. Soft and strange, like nothing she had ever heard before. They didn't sound like boots on her wooden floor. They sounded like water droplets falling on glass. The footsteps stopped right outside her bedroom door. Samantha raised her bat, ready to swing at whatever came through. The door opened slowly. Samantha's bat clattered to the floor. Standing in her doorway was a tall figure, at least 7 feet high. She looked almost human, but not quite. Her skin glowed with an inner light that shifted from blue to purple to green, like oil on water. She had no hair, just a smooth, elegant head with slight ridges where eyebrows would be. Her eyes were large, solid black, but somehow warm, without whites or visible pupils. She wore what looked like a form-fitting suit, made of a material Samantha couldn't identify. Not quite metal, not quite fabric. Samantha Wright, the figure said. Her voice sounded like several voices speaking at once, yet it was clear and perfect. I apologize for waking you. Samantha tried to speak, but no words came out. She backed up until her legs hit the bed, and she sat down hard. You are afraid, the figure said. That is understandable. My name is Lyra. I am not here to harm you. Who are you? Samantha finally managed to say. I am Vesperin, Lyra said, as if that explained everything. When Samantha just stared, she added, I come from a planet you would call Vespera, though that is not our name for it. It is approximately 42 of your light years from here. Samantha's scientific mind kicked in despite her fear. That's impossible. The nearest potentially habitable exoplanet we've discovered is, your science has not discovered my world yet, Lyra said. We have made sure of that. We? My people. The Vesperans. Lyra took a step into the room. Her movements were fluid, almost like she was floating. I have been watching you, Samantha Wright. Watching me? Why? Samantha's voice cracked. Because you have been watching me. Lyra gestured toward the window. Those lights you have been tracking with your telescope? That was my ship. Samantha's mouth fell open. The strange cluster that didn't match any known star patterns. The lights that seemed to move in ways that defied physics. It wasn't space debris or satellites. It was a spaceship. An alien spaceship. I need your help, Lyra said. She looked over her shoulder as if checking to make sure no one else was there. I am what you might call a fugitive. A fugitive? From what? From my own people. The Vesperan High Command believes I have stolen classified war plans. They are wrong, but they will not listen. I am a peace envoy. I am trying to prevent an invasion. An invasion? Samantha felt like she couldn't catch her breath. Of Earth? Lyra nodded. My people are at war with the Arcturians. They have been for centuries. The Vesperan military sees Earth as a strategic location. They plan to use it as a base for their operations against the Arcturians. Samantha's mind raced. This couldn't be real. She must be dreaming. But the cool night air on her skin, the faint smell of something like cinnamon and metal coming from Lyra, the soft blue light still filling her room, it all felt too real. Why me? She asked. Why come to me? Your observatory has been picking up our encrypted communications for months now, Lyra explained. What you thought was unusual stellar activity was actually military transmissions. My ship was damaged during my escape. It is in orbit around your planet in stealth mode making repairs. And you need a place to hide, Lyra said simply. Just until my ship completes its automated repair cycle. Then I can continue my mission to warn other worlds about what is coming. Samantha should be terrified. She should be running for the door, calling for help, doing anything but sitting here talking to an alien fugitive in her bedroom at midnight. But something in Lyra's eyes, those strange solid black eyes, seemed honest. Desperate even. If I help you, Samantha said slowly, can you help me understand those transmissions? Can you tell me more about your world? For the first time, Lyra's face changed. Something like a smile formed on her lips. Yes, Samantha, right. I can show you things your people have only dreamed of. Outside, the blue light from Lyra's ship pulsed once more, casting long shadows across the room. Samantha knew that by saying yes, her life would never be the same. But how could she say no to the stars? Okay, she said. You can stay. 2 weeks passed since Lyra first appeared in Samantha's cabin. Life had changed in ways Samantha never could have imagined. She now had an alien roommate who slept on her couch, though Lyra barely needed sleep, just 2 hours every 3 days. They had fallen into a strange routine. During the day, Samantha would go to work at the observatory as usual. At night, Lyra would help her decode the strange signals that her equipment had been picking up for months. The signals were indeed Vesperan battle coordinates, just as Lyra had said. These numbers here, Lyra said one evening, pointing to a series of dots and dashes on Samantha's computer screen, show where our ships plan to enter Earth's atmosphere. Samantha felt a chill run down her spine. How many ships? Hundreds, Lyra said. Her face showed no emotion, but her skin darkened from its usual bright blue to a deeper indigo, which Samantha had learned meant she was sad or worried. They will come in 3 waves. When? Soon, within 2 of your Earth months. Samantha ran her hands through her hair. We need to warn someone. Who would believe you? Lyra asked. Your governments would think you are… What's the word you humans use? Crazy. Samantha knew Lyra was right. She couldn't just walk into a government office and say an alien was living on her couch. Besides, Lyra added, my ship's repairs are at 73%. Once it reaches 100%, I can continue my mission to warn other worlds. Maybe find allies who can help Earth. Lyra had become skilled at disguising herself on the rare occasions they ventured into town for supplies. She wore baggy clothes, gloves, sunglasses, and a hat. She had learned to walk like a human, with less grace, more weight in her steps. She had even mastered small talk with the cashier at the local store. No one suspected she was from another world. That night, while Samantha slept, Lyra sat by the window watching the stars. She missed her homeworld with its 3 moons and crystal forests. She missed the sound of the wind through the great spires of the capital city. But she had made her choice when she stole the peace plans and fled. There was no going back now. A flash of light in the distance caught her attention. Headlights, coming up the road toward the cabin. This was unusual. No one ever came to visit Samantha, especially not at this hour. Lyra moved quickly to the bedroom. Samantha, she whispered, shaking her gently. Wake up. Samantha opened her eyes. What's wrong? Vehicles are coming. 3 of them, black with no markings. Samantha jumped out of bed and ran to the window. Sure enough, 3 black SUVs were making their way up the dirt road to her cabin. "This is bad," she said. "We need to go now." They grabbed the emergency bags they had prepared, Samantha's idea just in case. Lyra put on her disguise while Samantha pulled on jeans and a sweater. They headed for the back door, too late. The vehicles surrounded the cabin. Men in dark suits poured out, carrying what looked like military-grade weapons. Samantha and Lyra froze as the front door burst open. A woman walked in. She was tall, with short gray hair and sharp eyes. She wore a black suit like the others, but she carried herself with authority. The men with guns stepped aside for her. "Dr. Samantha Wright," the woman said. "My name is Agent Olivia Pearson. I believe you have something that belongs to us." Samantha stepped in front of Lyra. "I don't know what you're talking about." Agent Pearson smiled. "Please, we've been monitoring the signals from your observatory for months. We know exactly what, or should I say who, is here." She looked past Samantha directly at Lyra. "You can remove your disguise. We know what you are." Lyra slowly took off her sunglasses and hat. Her skin glowed faintly in the dark room. "Are you here to take her?" Samantha asked, her voice shaking. "Because I won't let you. Take her?" Agent Pearson raised an eyebrow. "No, Dr. Wright, we're here to protect her. And you." This was not what either of them expected to hear. Earth governments have been aware of the Vesper and Arcturian conflict for decades, Agent Pearson explained. "We've been preparing defenses against potential alien invasions since the 1960s. "How?" Samantha asked. "How could you possibly know about them?" "The Roswell incident wasn't a weather balloon, Dr. Wright. It was an Arcturian scout ship. That was our first contact." Agent Pearson turned to Lyra. "And it seems history is repeating itself. Another alien fugitive seeking refuge on Earth." "I am not a spy," Lyra said firmly. "I am trying to prevent a war." "We know," said Agent Pearson. "Our monitoring stations picked up your ship entering Earth's atmosphere 3 weeks ago. We've been tracking you since then. We would have come sooner, but we needed to be sure of your intentions." "And how are you sure now?" Lyra asked. "Because you've had multiple opportunities to harm Dr. Wright or others, and you haven't. And because we've decoded enough of your transmissions to know you're telling the truth about the invasion plans." Samantha's mind was spinning. "So what happens now?" "Now," said Agent Pearson, "we offer you protection in exchange for intelligence on Vesperan military capabilities. We need to know what we're up against." Lyra hesitated. Helping humans against her own people felt like betrayal. But the Vesperan military leadership had become corrupt. They cared more about conquering new worlds than protecting their own citizens. "I will help," Lyra said finally, "but only if Earth promises to distinguish between Vesperan military aggressors and civilians in any potential conflict. Many of my people do not support this war." Agent Pearson nodded. "That's a fair request. We're not interested in destroying your civilization. We just want to protect ours." "Where will you take us?" Samantha asked. "To a secure facility where you'll both be safe. Dr. Wright, your expertise in astrophysics will be valuable to our defense efforts, and Lyra's knowledge of Vesperan technology could be the key to saving both our worlds." Outside, the men in suits were already packing Samantha's essential belongings into one of the vehicles. "We need to leave now," Agent Pearson said. "We've detected increased Vesperan communication activity in the last hour. They may have located Lyra's ship." As they walked to the waiting SUVs, Samantha looked back at her cabin one last time. Just 2 weeks ago, her biggest worry had been finishing her research paper on time. Now she was involved in preparing Earth's defenses against an alien invasion. Lyra seemed to sense her thoughts. "I am sorry for bringing this trouble to your door, Samantha Wright." "Don't be," Samantha replied. "For the first time in my life, I'm doing something that really matters." They climbed into the middle SUV with Agent Pearson. As they drove away, Samantha saw a flash of blue light in the sky above her cabin. For a moment, she thought it was Lyra's ship. Then she realized it was too big, too bright. "They're here," Lyra whispered, her skin turning almost white with fear. "The first scouts have arrived." Agent Pearson spoke into her radio. "Eagle Nest, this is Sparrow. Package secure. Commence Operation Starfall." In the distance, something that looked like a shooting star streaked across the sky. Then another. And another. The war for Earth had begun. The black SUVs drove for hours. Samantha lost track of time as they wound through mountain roads, then onto a highway, and finally into a vast desert. The sun was rising when they approached what looked like an abandoned gas station in the middle of nowhere. Agent Pearson pressed a button on a small device. The ground in front of the gas station began to move. A large section of desert floor slid away to reveal a ramp leading underground. "Welcome to the hive," Agent Pearson said as their vehicle descended into darkness. The ramp led to a massive underground complex. Samantha stared in wonder at the facility that sprawled before them. It looked like a small city built beneath the earth. There were buildings, streets, and even parks with artificial sunlight streaming down from what looked like real skylights. "How is this possible?" Samantha asked. "How long has this been here?" "Since 1962, Agent Pearson replied. "After the Cuban Missile Crisis, the government realized we needed a place that could survive not just nuclear war, but potentially something worse." As they got out of the SUVs, Samantha noticed something strange. Not all the people walking around looked human. Some were tall and thin with extra joints in their limbs. Others had skin in impossible colors or more than 2 eyes. "Are they all?" Samantha couldn't finish her question. "Aliens?" "Yes," Agent Pearson said. "The hive is home to refugees from 17 different worlds, all affected by the Vesperan-Arcturian conflict. Earth has been harboring alien refugees for over 50 years. Lyra was staring at a group of beings with pale green skin and 4 arms. "Centaurians," she whispered. "I thought their world had been destroyed." "Many escaped," said a new voice. They turned to see a woman approaching. She was in her 60s with silver hair tied back in a neat bun. She wore a white lab coat with the name Dr. Eleanor Reeves embroidered on it. "Dr. Reeves is the director of the Celestial Sanctuary Initiative," Agent Pearson explained. "She oversees all refugee operations here at the hive." Dr. Reeves smiled warmly at Lyra. "We have someone here you might want to meet." She led them through the underground city to a building that looked like a research center. Inside, scientists of different species worked side by side on what appeared to be advanced technology. In an office at the back of the building, a Vesperan woman sat reading data on a screen that floated in the air. She was older than Lyra, her skin a deeper shade of blue with patterns that looked like stars scattered across it. Lyra gasped. "Ambassador Nara?" The older Vesperan looked up. Her black eyes widened. "Lyra, is it really you?" They embraced in the Vesperan way, touching foreheads while their hands hovered near each other's shoulders, not quite touching. "I thought you were dead," Lyra said. "After the military coup, I escaped," Ambassador Nara said. "Just as you did. I've been here for 7 Earth years helping the humans prepare for what I knew would eventually come." Samantha looked at Dr. Reeves. "What exactly is the Celestial Sanctuary Initiative?" "It's a multi-species effort to create safe havens throughout the galaxy for those displaced by conflict," Dr. Reeves explained. "Earth is just one of several sanctuary worlds." In the days that followed, Samantha and Lyra settled into life at the hive. Samantha's expertise in astrophysics proved valuable as she helped analyze Vesperan ship signatures and predict their movements. She worked with a team of human and alien scientists to develop early warning systems for Earth's defenses. Lyra spent most of her time with Ambassador Nara, sharing everything she knew about the current Vesperan military leadership and their plans. At night, she would return to the quarters she shared with Samantha, often looking exhausted. "Are you okay?" Samantha asked one evening, finding Lyra staring at the artificial night sky projected on their ceiling. "I am betraying my people," Lyra said softly. "Even though I know it's the right thing to do, it still feels wrong." Samantha sat beside her. "You're not betraying your people. You're trying to save them from a corrupt leadership. There's a difference." Lyra's skin shifted colors, showing swirls of deep purple and blue. "In Vesperan culture, loyalty to the collective is the highest virtue. What I'm doing would be seen as treason by many. Is that why you became a peace envoy? Because you valued something higher than blind loyalty?" Lyra was quiet for a moment. "Yes, I believe in connection between worlds, not conquest. That's why I refused my military path." "Your military path?" Samantha asked. "You were in the military?" Lyra's skin darkened with what Samantha had learned was shame. "All Vesperans with certain genetic markers are selected for military training from a young age. I was considered especially promising. A natural strategist. What happened? I completed my training. I was assigned to General Mara's command ship. But during my first mission, I saw what we did to a peaceful world that refused to give us access to their resources." Lyra's voice grew quiet. "I couldn't be part of that. So I requested transfer to the diplomatic corps. It was considered a great dishonor." Samantha was learning more about Lyra each day. The alien woman was complex, carrying the weight of her choices heavily. In my culture, Samantha said, standing up for what you believe is right, even when it's difficult, is considered honorable. Your people are young but wise in some ways, Lyra replied. She hesitated, then added, there is something in Vesperan culture called memory sharing. It is how we pass down our history, our knowledge, our experiences. It is usually reserved for family and bondmates. Like a mind meld? Samantha asked, thinking of old science fiction shows. Lyra smiled slightly. Similar but more intimate. Would you allow me to share a memory with you? It might help you understand. Samantha nodded, curious. Lyra raised her hand and gently placed her palm near Samantha's temple, not quite touching. Close your eyes, she whispered. Samantha did. Suddenly she wasn't in their room anymore. She was standing on a cliff overlooking a vast ocean of what looked like liquid crystal. 3 moons hung in a purple sky, casting rainbow light across the waves. She could feel the warm breeze, smell something like cinnamon and salt. A deep sense of longing and love washed over her. This is Vespera, Lyra's voice echoed in her mind. This is what we're fighting to protect. The vision faded and Samantha opened her eyes to find tears streaming down her face. That was beautiful, she whispered. That was my home, Lyra said, before the military leaders turned it into a war machine. As Lyra pulled her hand away, something unexpected happened. A flood of Samantha's memories rushed through the connection. Images of her parents, scientists who died in a lab explosion when she was 10. The foster homes she bounced between. The night she saw her first shooting star and decided to study the stars. Lyra gasped and pulled back. I'm sorry. That shouldn't have happened. The connection was stronger than I expected. Samantha felt strangely calm despite the intrusion. It's okay. Your parents, Lyra said slowly. They died in a government research facility explosion. Yes, they were physicists. It was an accident. Lyra's expression changed. Samantha, I don't think it was an accident. The images I saw, that facility looks like it was studying alien technology. Arcturian technology. Samantha stared at her. What are you saying? I think your parents were part of Earth's first contact team, and I think they may have died because of what they discovered. Before Samantha could process this, alarms began blaring throughout the hive. Dr. Reeves's voice came over the speakers. All personnel to emergency stations. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill. Samantha and Lyra rushed to the command center, where Agent Pearson, Dr. Reeves, and Ambassador Nara were gathered around a holographic display of Earth's atmosphere. What's happening? Samantha asked. The first wave, Agent Pearson said grimly. Vesperan scout ships have entered Earth's atmosphere. They're testing our defenses. On the display, dozens of red dots were moving toward major cities around the world. They're ahead of schedule, Lyra said, her skin pale with worry. They weren't supposed to arrive for another month. Ambassador Nara looked grim. They must have discovered I'm alive. They're accelerating their plans. How many ships? Samantha asked. 57 scouts, Dr. Reeves said. But our sensors detect a much larger fleet gathering at the edge of our solar system. How many people know about this? Samantha asked, gesturing to the display. Only the highest levels of government in 12 countries, Agent Pearson replied. To the public, this will look like meteor showers and satellite debris. Until the main invasion begins, Lyra said quietly. They all stared at the holographic display as the red dots continued their descent toward Earth. The war had reached their doorstep, and Samantha couldn't help but wonder if her alien roommate had brought doom or salvation to her world. 3 weeks passed since Samantha and Lyra arrived at the hive. The Vesperan scout ships had been testing Earth's defenses daily, probing for weaknesses. So far, the hidden defense systems had held. Satellite weapons platforms destroyed most scouts before they could enter the atmosphere. Ground-based energy shields protected major cities from those that got through. Samantha had barely slept. She worked around the clock with the science team, analyzing Vesperan attack patterns and helping improve Earth's early warning systems. Lyra worked just as hard, providing critical intelligence on Vesperan military tactics. At exactly midnight on the 21st day, every alarm in the hive screamed to life. Samantha bolted upright in her bed. Lyra was already at the door. It's happening, Lyra said, her skin pale with fear. The main invasion. They ran to the command center. Chaos greeted them. Scientists and military personnel rushed between stations. The main display showed hundreds of red dots entering Earth's atmosphere. Dr. Reeves stood at the center console, her face grim. "They found a way past our outer defenses," she said as Samantha and Lyra approached. "They're using some kind of stealth technology we haven't seen before." Lyra studied the display. Her skin darkened with recognition. "It's a phase shift drive," she said. "It allows ships to partially exist in multiple dimensions at once. They appear solid only moments before impact." "How do we detect them sooner?" Agent Pearson asked. "You can't," Lyra said. "Not with your current technology." Ambassador Nara joined them, looking at the display with concern. "Who's leading the invasion fleet?" Lyra pointed to a larger red dot at the center of the formation. "That signature. It's General Mara's command ship." "General Mara?" Samantha asked. "Your former commander?" Lyra nodded. "She was my mentor before I left the military. She knows my strategies, my thinking. She probably planned this invasion knowing I would be helping Earth." The ground shook as something exploded on the surface above them. "They found us," Agent Pearson said, checking a secondary display. 3 ships are attacking the desert directly above the hive." Dr. Reeves activated the facility's defenses. "The shields will hold for now, but we need a better plan than just hiding." Lyra was still studying the attack pattern. "She's using the Crimson Dawn formation," she murmured. "It's designed to overwhelm planetary defenses by attacking from multiple vectors simultaneously." "How do we counter it?" Samantha asked. "You don't," Lyra said. "That's why it's effective unless—" Her eyes widened. "Unless you have someone who knows General Mara's personal weaknesses." Everyone looked at Lyra. "Me," she said. "I know how she thinks. I know where her blind spots are." "What are you suggesting?" Agent Pearson asked. "My ship's repairs should be complete by now. I could approach the Vesperan command vessel under the guise of surrendering. General Mara wants me alive. She believes I have information valuable to the war effort." "It's too dangerous," Samantha protested. "It's our best chance," Lyra countered. "Once aboard, I can access their systems and temporarily disable their weapons." Dr. Reeves looked skeptical. "They'll never believe you're surrendering without a reason." "They will if I bring them what they think I stole," Lyra said. "The coordinates for the ancient weapon." "What ancient weapon?" Samantha asked. Ambassador Nara explained. "Vesperan mythology speaks of a weapon created by our ancestors that could end any war. Most believe it's just a legend, but our military has been searching for it for centuries." "And you know where it is?" Agent Pearson asked Lyra. "No," Lyra said. "But I can create convincing false coordinates. It will buy us time." "They'll kill you once they realize you've tricked them," Samantha said. "Not if I'm not alone." Lyra looked at Samantha. "They'll be more likely to believe my surrender if I bring a human scientist as a peace offering." "Absolutely not," Dr. Reeves said. "We're not sending a civilian into an alien warship." "I'll go," Samantha said firmly. Everyone stared at her. "I'm not just any scientist. I've been studying Vesperan communications for months. I know more about their technology than anyone else here except Lyra." "It's too risky," Agent Pearson argued. Another explosion rocked the facility, stronger this time. Lights flickered. "We're running out of options," Ambassador Nara said, "and time." After heated debate, they agreed to the plan. It was dangerous, possibly suicidal, but no one had a better idea. Earth's defenses were failing against the superior Vesperan technology. Lyra's ship had been moved to a hangar within the hive. It was smaller than Samantha had imagined, about the size of a city bus with smooth curves that seemed to flow like liquid metal. Its surface shimmered with an iridescent blue glow that matched Lyra's skin. As they prepared to board, Dr. Reeves gave Samantha a small device. "This will allow us to track you and communicate if possible. But once you're on their ship, we may lose contact." Agent Pearson handed Lyra a data crystal. "The false coordinates, as you requested. They'll hold up to basic scrutiny." Samantha and Lyra stood at the entrance to the ship. The reality of what they were about to do hit Samantha hard. "We might not come back from this," she said quietly. "No," Lyra agreed. "We might not." They looked at each other, both aware that this could be the last peaceful moment they would share. Lyra reached out and touched her forehead to Samantha's in the Vesperan farewell gesture. "If we don't return," Lyra said softly, "know that meeting you has been the most valuable experience of my existence." Samantha felt tears forming. "Same here, Space Girl." Lyra's ship rose silently from the underground hangar through a hidden exit away from the battle above. Once clear of the hive, Lyra activated the ship's engines. The vessel shot forward with such speed that Samantha was pressed back into her seat, despite the ship's internal gravity controls. Through the view screen, Samantha witnessed the battle for Earth from orbit. It was both beautiful and terrifying. Energy weapons crisscrossed the darkness. Explosions bloomed like silent flowers. Below, the planet's defenses were visible as shimmering domes over major cities. "Those shields won't hold much longer," Lyra said, checking the ship's sensors. "General Mara is focusing attacks on power stations and command centers." They approached the massive Vesperan mothership. It was enormous, at least a mile long, shaped like a spear point with jagged extensions that reminded Samantha of insect legs. Smaller fighter ships swarmed around it like angry wasps. Lyra opened a communication channel. "This is Peace Envoy Lyra requesting audience with General Mara. I wish to surrender myself and the coordinates you seek. I have brought a human scientist as a token of good faith." There was a long pause. Samantha held her breath. Finally, a voice responded in the Vesperan language. Lyra's skin paled. "What did they say?" Samantha asked. "They're allowing us to dock," Lyra said. "They've been expecting us." "Expecting us? How could they know we were coming?" Lyra's expression was grim. "I don't know, but this was too easy." The small ship was pulled into a docking bay inside the massive mothership. Armed Vesperan soldiers surrounded them as they exited. They were taller than Lyra, with darker skin and what looked like armor grafted directly onto their bodies. The soldiers escorted them through winding corridors to what appeared to be a command center. At its center stood a Vesperan woman whose presence dominated the room. Her skin was the deepest blue Samantha had seen, almost black, with patterns like galaxies swirling across it. She wore what looked like battle armor that enhanced her already imposing height. "General Mara," Lyra said, bowing slightly. The general studied them both. "Lyra," she said in perfect English, "and Dr. Samantha Wright. How kind of you to deliver yourselves to me so conveniently." Samantha felt a chill run down her spine. They knew her name. "You've been aware of us all along, haven't you?" Lyra asked. General Mara smiled, though it didn't reach her eyes. "Of course. Did you think your little ship could hide from us? We've been tracking you since you fled Vespera." "Then why wait until now to capture me?" Lyra asked. "Because we needed to locate Earth's main defense facility," General Mara said. "And you led us straight to it." Samantha's heart sank. They had played right into the general's hands. "Now," General Mara continued, "about those coordinates you stole." "I have them here," Lyra said, producing the data crystal Agent Pearson had given her. General Mara took it, studying it briefly before handing it to a science officer. "Verify these." While they waited, General Mara circled Samantha with interest. "A human scientist. How fascinating. Your kind has progressed further than we expected." "We're full of surprises," Samantha said, trying to sound braver than she felt. "Indeed. Which is why we'll study your species thoroughly before deciding your fate. Those who cooperate may be allowed to live as subjects of the Vesperan Empire." The science officer returned and whispered something to General Mara. Her expression changed from satisfaction to anger. "False. Coordinates," she spat. "Did you really think we wouldn't detect such an obvious deception?" Lyra stepped forward. "It was worth trying." "Take them to the holding cells," General Mara ordered the guards. "We'll extract the real coordinates later." As guards moved to seize them, Samantha caught Lyra's eye. They had discussed a backup plan if things went wrong. Now was the time. Alarms blared throughout the Vesperan mothership. Crew members rushed toward escape pods as the self-destruct countdown continued. 9 minutes remained until detonation. "We need to stop it," Samantha said, looking at the flashing warnings on the control screens. "The self-destruct can only be stopped from the engine core," Lyra explained. "And General Mara will have locked it with her command codes." "So we don't stop it," Samantha said, thinking quickly. "We contain it." Lyra's eyes widened with understanding. "If we can reach the engine room, I might be able to modify the containment field to implode rather than explode." "That would save Earth's atmosphere," Samantha said. "Yes, but we would need to trigger it manually, from inside the engine room." The implication was clear. Whoever stayed to trigger the implosion wouldn't survive. "I'll do it," they both said at the same time. "No," Lyra said firmly. "This is my responsibility. My people caused this." "We don't have time to argue," Samantha replied. "Let's get to the engine room first, then decide." They ran through the chaotic corridors of the ship. Vesper and crew members ignored them, focused only on their own escape. 8 minutes remained. This way, Lyra said, leading them down a maintenance shaft. It's a shortcut to the lower levels. The shaft was narrow and dark. They climbed down quickly, emerging in a corridor with pulsing blue lights. Few crew members were here. Most had already evacuated or gone to higher levels. There, Lyra pointed to a massive door at the end of the hall. That's the engine core access. The door was locked with a security panel. Lyra placed her hand on it, but a red light flashed. My access has been revoked, she said. Samantha looked around frantically. There must be another way in. There is, came a voice behind them. They spun around to see General Mara standing there. She held what looked like a weapon, pointed directly at them. General, Lyra said carefully. The ship will explode in... She checked a nearby display, 7 minutes. We can save lives if you let us modify the containment field. Save lives? General Mara laughed bitterly. That was never my mission. What are you talking about? Samantha asked. This war was never about defeating the Arcturians, General Mara said. It was about finding the ancient weapon, the one that Lyra knows how to activate. Lyra's skin paled. I don't understand. Don't play innocent, General Mara snapped. Why do you think you were selected for special training? Why do you think I mentored you personally? We discovered decades ago that only someone with your specific genetic marker could operate the weapon. Is that why you've been hunting me? Lyra asked, stunned. Not because I stole war plans, but because of my genetics? The invasion of Earth was merely a means to recapture you, General Mara said. The High Command believes you're the key to ending the war with the Arcturians forever. Samantha saw confusion and betrayal wash over Lyra's face. Everything she thought she knew had been a lie. If that's true, Lyra said slowly, then let us stop the self-destruct. If I'm so valuable to you, you need me alive. General Mara smiled coldly. I would rather die than let the weapon fall into the wrong hands. The High Command has become weak. They would use it for peace. She spat the last word like it was poison. While they were talking, Samantha had been inching toward a panel on the wall. Now she lunged for it, pulling down an emergency lever. Sprinklers activated overhead, spraying the corridor with fire suppressant. General Mara was momentarily distracted. Lyra moved with incredible speed, knocking the weapon from the general's hand. They grappled, crashing against the wall. Samantha! The door! Lyra shouted as she struggled with General Mara. Samantha grabbed the general's weapon and pointed it at the security panel. She fired. The panel exploded in a shower of sparks and the massive door slid open. Lyra, come on, she called. Lyra delivered a final blow that sent General Mara staggering back, then ran to join Samantha. They entered the engine core and sealed the door behind them. The engine room was enormous. At its center floated a sphere of pulsing energy, contained within multiple fields of blue light. Walkways extended from the outer walls toward the central core. 5 minutes until detonation, announced the automated voice. Lyra ran to a control station. I can modify the containment field to create an implosion instead of an explosion, she said, her fingers flying over the controls. But the final command has to be entered from that terminal. She pointed to a station just meters from the energy sphere. The radiation there would kill anyone in seconds, Samantha realized. Yes, Lyra said quietly. That's why I have to do it. No, Samantha protested. There must be another way. There isn't. And my body can withstand the radiation longer than yours. Lyra's eyes were sad but determined. Long enough to complete the sequence. A loud bang echoed through the room. General Mara was trying to break through the door. We don't have much time, Lyra said. She worked quickly, programming the new containment protocols. The energy sphere began to pulse more rapidly, changing from blue to purple. 3 minutes until detonation. Lyra finished the programming. The sequence is ready, she said, but it needs to be activated from that terminal. She nodded toward the station near the core. Samantha felt tears on her cheeks. Lyra, please, listen to me, Lyra said, taking Samantha's hands. When I do this, you need to get to that escape pod. She pointed to a small pod near the wall. It will take you back to Earth. I'm not leaving you. You must. Lyra's skin glowed with an intensity Samantha had never seen before. Someone needs to tell your people what happened here. Someone needs to prepare them for what's coming. What do you mean? The invasion will be stopped. This invasion, yes. But there will be others. My people, the Arcturians, others you haven't met yet. The galaxy is filled with both wonders and dangers. Lyra's voice softened. Earth needs people like you, Samantha. People who can see beyond their own world. The door buckled as General Mara continued her assault. 2 minutes until detonation. Go, Lyra said, pushing Samantha toward the escape pod. Now! Samantha wanted to argue, but she knew Lyra was right. This was bigger than both of them. I'll tell them, she promised. I'll make sure they're ready, Lyra smiled. Then she did something unexpected. She leaned forward and pressed her lips gently against Samantha's, a human gesture she had learned during her time on Earth. Goodbye, Samantha Wright, she whispered. Before Samantha could respond, Lyra pushed her into the escape pod and sealed the door. Through the small window, Samantha watched as Lyra turned and ran toward the central terminal near the core. The escape pod automatically launched, shooting away from the mothership through a small access tube. As it cleared the ship, Samantha could see the battle still raging around Earth. Some Vesperan ships were retreating, while others continued to fight. 1 minute until detonation. Through the pod's window, Samantha watched the massive mothership. Would Lyra succeed? Or would Earth's atmosphere be devastated by the explosion? 30 seconds until detonation. The escape pod was now a safe distance away. Samantha held her breath, staring at the mothership. 10, 9, 8. She closed her eyes. 3, 2, 1. Instead of an explosion, the mothership seemed to collapse in on itself. A brief, brilliant flash of light, and then nothing. Where the mile-long vessel had been, there was only a small cloud of glittering particles. The implosion had worked. Earth was safe, but Lyra was gone. The escape pod continued its descent toward Earth. Samantha sat in silence, tears floating in the zero gravity around her. The pod's communication system crackled to life. Unidentified craft, this is Earth Defense Command. Identify yourself. Samantha wiped her tears and responded, This is Dr. Samantha Wright. I'm coming home. 3 months passed. The Vesperan fleet had retreated after the destruction of General Mara's ship and the broadcast of the truth about the war. The immediate danger had passed, but Earth continued to strengthen its defenses. The Hive had expanded its operations, with the existence of aliens now public knowledge. The Celestial Sanctuary Initiative operated openly, working with governments around the world to prepare for future contact with other civilizations. Samantha had been appointed as a special advisor to the initiative. Her experience with Lyra and her knowledge of Vesperan technology made her invaluable, but each night she would return to her cabin in the mountains and watch the stars, remembering. On this night, exactly 3 months after the battle, Samantha sat on her porch with a cup of tea. The stars were particularly bright. She had rebuilt her life, found purpose in her work, but the hole left by Lyra's sacrifice remained. As midnight approached, Samantha prepared to go inside. Then she noticed something strange. A faint blue light in the distance moving through the trees toward her cabin. Her heart raced. It couldn't be. The light grew stronger, illuminating the forest path, and then a figure emerged from the trees, tall with iridescent skin that shifted colors with each step. But now that skin bore luminous scars that traced patterns like constellations. Samantha couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Hello, Samantha Wright, Lyra said, her voice just as Samantha remembered it. How? Samantha whispered, finally finding her voice. I saw the ship implode. My species can survive briefly in vacuum, Lyra explained, walking closer. And I was picked up by a Vesperan ship commanded by an old friend who opposed General Mara. But why didn't you contact me sooner?